When humanity intervened, all galactic forces went on alert. The Galactic Council Station drifted in silent orbit around a blue star. It was the largest meeting place in known space. Hundreds of species gathered there when great danger appeared. Today, danger had arrived. Inside the main chamber, the air felt heavy. Long rows of floating seats held beings of every shape and size. Some had wings, some had metal bodies, some breathed strange gas instead of air, but they all shared the same feeling: fear. At the center of the chamber, a massive star map glowed in the dark. A small yellow light blinked near the edge of the map. That light marked the neutral system of Verdanth. An ancient reptile-like being rose from its seat. Its scales were dull with age, and its eyes shined with worry. "The signal has been confirmed," it said in a slow voice. "Human ships have entered the Verdanth system." A low sound moved through the chamber. Not a scream, not a shout, a murmur of alarm. A tall insect-like general clicked its mandibles. "Why would they go there? That system is under dispute." A floating machine being spoke next. "I calculate a 79% chance of conflict." "No," said another voice. A fur-covered diplomat stood up, its ears flat against its head. "When humans arrive, conflict is already certain." The map changed. New red lights appeared across space. The fleets of the Carthan Empire were moving. So were the warships of the Zyrex Dominion. Both were racing toward Verdanth. Two great powers, one small system, and now humans. A calm voice filled the chamber. "Raise alert status for all major fleets." The speaker was the council overseer, a tall, silver-skinned being with glowing eyes. "We must prepare for human involvement." Some members protested. "They are only one species," said a bird-like admiral. "They are still young compared to us." The ancient reptile turned its head slowly. "Young does not mean weak. It means unpredictable." The chamber fell silent. Everyone remembered the last time humans had intervened. It had been during the Talrex Purge War. Two empires had tried to wipe out a small mining world. Humans had arrived with fewer ships. They spoke first, then they acted. They used strange formations. They used weapons that did not destroy ships, but shut them down. They rescued civilians before attacking soldiers. The war had ended in days. Since then, whenever humans entered a conflict zone, history changed. Back at the map, the blinking yellow light grew brighter. Verdanth was not rich. It had no great cities. It had no famous species. But it held energy crystals beneath its oceans. The Carthan Empire wanted them. The Zyrex Dominion wanted them. The small people of Verdanth wanted to survive. They had sent messages for help. None of the great powers answered. Only Earth did. Far away, inside a human command ship, a woman stood before a wide window. Commander Elise Ward watched stars stretch across space as the fleet moved faster than light. She was calm, but her hands were tight at her sides. Behind her, officers worked in silence. Screens showed the two alien armadas moving toward Verdanth. They were massive, thousands of ships. Humans had only 400. "Time to arrival?" asked one voice. 2 hours, a reply. "Enemy fleets? 30 minutes. She nodded. "We still go in first." "Yes, Commander." No cheering followed, no brave words. Everyone knew what they were doing. They were flying into the center of a war. Back in the Galactic Council chamber, alarms began to sound. More fleets were now changing course. The Dravic clans, the Solar Collective, even the distant Iron Syndicate, all moved toward Verdanth, not to fight humans, to watch them. The Overseer spoke again. Record everything. If humanity acts, the galaxy must see it. The Insect General's voice trembled. What if they fail? The Overseer's eyes dimmed. Then Verdanth will burn, and the galaxy will remember that even humans can lose. The map zoomed in. 2 giant armadas faced each other near the small yellow star, and between them a thin blue line appeared. Human ships, small, bright, moving forward. No shots fired yet, no message sent yet, only silence before the storm. And across the galaxy, one thought spread through every fleet and every council hall. When humans interfere, nothing stays the same. Long before human ships appeared near Verdanth, the galaxy had already learned an important lesson. Humans did not fight like other species. Most empires used power to control space. They fought for land, for energy, or for pride. Humans were different. They fought when someone could not fight back. The first time the galaxy noticed them was during the Sereth collapse. A small moon called Sereth 9 had been attacked by pirates from 3 systems. The moon had no weapons. Its people mined ice and metal. They sent out calls for help. No one answered. The pirates came in waves. They burned cities. They took people away. Then strange ships arrived. They were not large. They were not decorated. They looked plain and dark, like shadows. The pirates laughed at first. Then their engines stopped working. Human ships used silent weapons. They did not explode. They did not shine. They simply shut machines down. Human soldiers boarded the pirate ships. They did not kill unless they had to. They freed the prisoners. They took the pirates alive. The moon was saved in one day. From that moment, stories about humans spread. Some said humans were weak. Others said humans were dangerous. Then came the Varnak border war. 2 great empires fought over a trade route. Hundreds of ships were destroyed. Millions died. Humans arrived late. They sent one message to both sides. This war ends now. The empires ignored them. So humans flew their ships into the middle of the battlefield. They used strange light walls to block attacks. They hacked control systems from far away. They forced both fleets to stop shooting. For the first time in history, a battle froze in place. The war ended 2 days later. No treaty was signed by humans. No land was taken. They simply left. After that, the galaxy started watching humans closely. They were not conquerors. They were not saints. They were something new. Now, near Verdanth, the old memories returned. Inside the Carthan Empire flagship, Admiral Vorkesh watched the human fleet on his screen. "They are too few," he growled. "They think fear will stop us." His officers did not look sure. "They ended the Varnak War," one said. "That was different," Vorkesh replied. "This is our system." Across space, in the Zyrex Dominion command ship, Overlord Threx clicked his sharp teeth together. "Humans do not fight fair," he said. "They fight smart." "But we outnumber them," his general said. Threx's eyes narrowed. Outnumbering humans has never meant safety. Between the 2 armadas, the human fleet moved slowly forward. They did not rush. They did not spread out. They flew in calm lines. Commander Elise Ward stood on her bridge. She watched the 2 massive fleets grow larger on the main screen. The officers around her were quiet. They all knew the history. They all knew what the galaxy expected of them. "Open channel," she said. A signal spread through space. Both alien fleets received it. "This is Commander Ward of Earth Defense Fleet. This system is now under human protection." Silence followed. Then Admiral Vorkesh laughed. "You protect what you do not own?" he said. "Move aside." On the Zyrex side, Overlord Threx spoke next. "Your species is brave, but bravery dies in fire." Ward did not raise her voice. "Verdanth asked for help. You answered with guns. We answered with ships." Her words spread across the open channel. The small planet below watched. Their cities were already dark. Their oceans glowed faintly with hidden crystals. They had no fleet to defend them. Only the thin blue line of human ships stood in the way. Back in the Galactic Council, the chamber was filled with tension. Every screen showed the same image: two great armadas, one small human force. The insect general leaned forward. "If humans fall, war will cover that sector for centuries." The overseer spoke softly. "If humans succeed, the balance will change again." Near Verdanth, weapons powered up. Alien ships locked targets. Human ships did not. Instead, small shapes began to leave their hulls. Hundreds of tiny objects drifted into space. They looked like dust, but they moved with purpose. Commander Ward watched the swarm spread. "Phase 1 is active," she said. The alien sensors began to fail. Screens flickered. Targeting lines vanished. Confusion moved through both armadas, and the first human move had not been a shot. It had been silence.
Space around Verdanth became quiet in a strange way. Not peaceful, not safe, just still. The tiny machines released by the human fleet drifted like silver dust between the two massive armadas. They did not shine. They did not explode. But wherever they passed, alien systems failed. Inside Carthan ships, warning lights flashed. "Target locks are gone," one officer shouted. "Our sensors are blind." On Zyrex vessels, communication screens turned dark. "We cannot see the humans clearly," a general said. "Our weapons do not respond." Both sides had planned for battle. Neither had planned for silence. Between them, the human fleet continued forward. Slow, straight, calm. From the bridge of her ship, Commander Elise Ward watched the data scroll across her screen. "Swarm coverage is complete," an officer said. "Enemy systems disrupted across 80% of their fleets." Ward nodded. "Hold position. Do not advance further." The human ships stopped moving. They now floated directly between the two armadas like a living wall. On the Carthan flagship, Admiral Vorkesh slammed his clawed hand onto his console. "Fire anyway!" he roared. A beam weapon launched from one of his ships. It crossed empty space and vanished. The tiny machines surrounded it and absorbed the energy. The shot never reached the humans. Vorkesh stared. "That is impossible." Across space, Overlord Threx watched the same thing happen. "They are not blocking us with armor," he said. "They are blocking us with control." Both leaders felt the same fear. They could not fight what they could not touch. Commander Elise Ward opened the channel again. "We are not attacking you," she said. "We are stopping you." Her voice carried across every ship in the system. "This planet does not belong to you. Leave now." The Carthan admiral snarled. "We have claimed it by law and blood." Ward replied, "Then your law is broken." On the small planet below, the people of Verdanth watched the skies. They saw alien warships on both sides. They saw a thin line of blue human lights between them. Their world had no defense guns, no shields, only hope. In the Galactic Council, the chamber was silent. All eyes watched the same live image. Human ships between two giants. The insect general whispered, "They are standing in front of a storm." The ancient reptile nodded slowly, and storms break when they hit mountains. Back in space, the Xyrex Dominion made its move. Threx ordered a group of ships to charge forward at full speed. They rushed toward the human line. Human ships did not dodge. Instead, bright lines of light appeared between them. Invisible walls formed in space. The Xyrex ships struck them. They did not explode. They stopped. Their engines died. They drifted forward without control. Human rescue craft flew out immediately. They attached cables and pulled the drifting ships away. Xyrex crews watched in shock as humans saved them from their own attack. "They are capturing our ships," a Xyrex officer said. "No," Threx replied slowly. "They are returning them." The disabled ships were pushed back toward Xyrex space. No weapons, no punishment, just removal from the fight. The Carthan fleet hesitated. For the first time, Admiral Vorkesh did not order an attack. "What do they want?" an officer asked him. Vorkesh did not answer. He had watched humans before. He had seen them change wars. Now he saw them changing this one. Commander Ward watched the alien fleets hesitate. Her hands were steady. "We give them a choice," she said. "Leave or stay and do nothing." An officer looked at her. "And if they try again, then we stop them again," she said. Minutes passed, long ones. In the dark between stars, neither side moved. Then a message came from the Xyrex Dominion. "We will withdraw," Threx said. "This system is not worth this risk." Xyrex ships began to turn away. The Carthan fleet did not move yet. Vorkesh watched his enemy retreat. He felt anger and something else, relief. If Xyrex left, he would be alone against humans, and he knew that battle would not be normal. Slowly, his fleet powered down its weapons. "This is not over," he said. Ward replied, "It is today." The Carthan ships turned and moved away from Verdanth, one by one. The planet below was saved without a single city burning, without a single bomb falling. Back in the Galactic Council, alarms stopped. The Overseer stood. "Humanity has intervened," it said, "and the galaxy has listened." But no one believed this was the end, only the beginning.
The space around Verdanth slowly cleared. The Xyrex Dominion ships were already gone. The Carthan fleet was moving away in long, silent lines. The human ships remained. They did not chase. They did not celebrate. They stayed between the planet and the empty dark. On the bridge of her command ship, Commander Elise Ward watched the last Carthan cruiser vanish from the screen. "Maintain shield position," she said. "No one leaves yet." Her officers nodded and continued their work. Small human craft moved toward the drifting alien ships that had lost power earlier. They repaired engines. They restored basic controls. Then they released them. No prisoners, no threats, only distance. On Verdanth, the sky changed color. For days it had glowed with warning lights and burning engines. Now it was quiet. The people came out of their shelters. They looked up and saw human ships above their oceans. They did not know what humans wanted. They only knew the war had stopped. Inside the Galactic Council chamber, confusion spread. "They could have destroyed both fleets," said the insect general. But they did not. The ancient reptile folded its claws together, because destruction was not their goal. "Then what is?" asked a crystal-skinned delegate. The overseer raised one glowing hand. "Control without conquest." A new message reached the council. It came from Earth. A human diplomat appeared on the central screen. "This intervention was legal under council law," the diplomat said. "Verdant requested protection. We responded." Some council members protested. "You had no right to block sovereign fleets," said a bird-like lord. The diplomat answered calmly. "They had no right to attack a neutral world." Silence followed. No law clearly said humans were wrong. Back near Verdant, Commander Ward prepared her next move. "Send the evidence," she ordered. A wide transmission spread across the system. It showed hidden data from Carthan and Zyrex files, secret mining plans, private messages, orders to erase Verdant's cities once the crystals were taken. The images were clear. The truth was visible. On the Carthan flagship, Admiral Vorkash watched the transmission. His jaw tightened. "They exposed us," an officer said. Vorkash did not answer. He knew humans had not only stopped the war, they had removed his excuse. On the Zyrex homeworld, Overlord Threx saw the same message. "They showed the galaxy our lies," his general said. Yes, and they did it without firing a weapon. The galaxy reacted quickly. Trade routes closed to both empires. Neutral systems denied them access. Public opinion turned cold. Humans had not punished them directly. They had let the galaxy judge. On Verdant, human envoys landed in small craft. They wore simple uniforms, no heavy armor. They met with the leaders of the ocean cities. "We will stay until you are safe. We will leave when you can defend yourselves." The Verdant leaders bowed. "We do not have weapons," one said. "We only have work and families." Ward spoke through the screen. "Then we will give you time." Human engineers began to build defense platforms in orbit, not weapons for attack, only shields, sensors, warning systems. The small planet gained a voice in space. In the council chamber, a new argument began. "If humans decide where wars stop, they control us all," said one delegate. "And if they decide where wars start," said another. The overseer raised its voice. "Humans did not choose this fight. They answered it." The insect general leaned forward. "What happens next time they intervene?" The overseer's eyes dimmed. "Then we will all be watching again." Far from the council, Commander Ward stood alone on her bridge. She watched the stars. Her second officer approached her. "They are calling us heroes." Ward shook her head. "We did not save the galaxy. We only paused it." "But they fear us now," the officer said. "They already did," Ward replied. "Now they understand why." A message came from Earth Command. "Well done. Remain on station until further notice." She closed the message and looked back at Verdant. Below the clouds, cities glowed again, not with fear, with light. Human ships formed a wide ring around the system, not like walls, like hands held open. The galaxy learned something that day. Humans did not win by force. They won by placing themselves where the war could not pass. And for the first time in centuries, a war ended without bodies drifting in space. But across distant stars, fleets still moved, and every admiral now asked the same question. What will humans do the next time they intervene? News of Verdant spread faster than any fleet. Across the galaxy, screens showed the same scene. Two great empires had been stopped. One small world had been saved. and humans had stood between them without firing a single killing shot. In the halls of power, fear replaced pride. On the homeworld of the Dravik clans, war chiefs met in a stone chamber filled with firelight. "Humans did not destroy their enemies," one chief growled. "They made them retreat." Another answered, "That is worse. You can rebuild after defeat, but how do you fight someone who refuses to fight?" The chiefs fell silent. In the metal cities of the Iron Syndicate, machine rulers ran millions of predictions. "Human intervention increases system instability by 42%, one machine said. "Correction," another replied. "It increases control by humans." Trade guilds began to panic. Shipping routes near human space were closed. Insurance costs rose. Convoys demanded human escort. Merchants did not fear human weapons. They feared human decisions. At the Galactic Council, emergency sessions filled the chamber. Delegates argued without pause. "They are taking the role of judge," said a snake-like noble. "They are preventing genocide," replied a glowing sphere being. "Today they saved a planet," another shouted. "Tomorrow they choose who rules." The overseer listened without speaking. Finally, it raised its glowing staff. "Humans have not claimed territory. They have not demanded tribute. They have not written new laws. But they act as law," the bird-like admiral said. "They act as conscience," replied the reptile elder. No one could prove either side wrong. Near Verdanth, the human fleet still held position. Commander Elise Ward received messages every hour. Some came from small worlds asking for protection. Others came from large empires asking for explanation. She answered all with the same words. "We do not seek control. We answer distress calls." Her officers worried. "If too many ask for help, we cannot respond to all," one said. Ward nodded. "Then we must teach others to protect instead of attack." Human diplomats arrived at nearby systems. They spoke with neutral worlds. They shared shield designs. They offered early warming systems. They did not give weapons. They gave time. On Carthan worlds, unrest began. Citizens had seen the transmission. They had seen their leaders' secret plans. Protests filled the streets. "Why fight for crystals?" they shouted. "Why kill for profit?" Admiral Vorkesh watched his empire weaken. Humans had not attacked his cities. They had attacked his story. On Zyrex planets, generals argued with priests. "The humans humiliated us," the generals said. "They showed mercy," the priests answered. "Maybe that is strength." The Zyrex Dominion began to withdraw from border systems, not because they lost ships, because they lost confidence. The galaxy shifted without a single explosion. In the council chamber, the overseer made a new decree. "All major fleets will enter readiness when humans intervene." It was not an order to fight, it was an order to watch. The insect general asked, "Is humanity now a threat?" The overseer replied, "Humanity is now a variable." Far from politics, on Verdanth, life slowly returned. Fisher cities repaired their domes. Children swam again in glowing seas. They watched the human ships above like silent stars. A Verdanth leader spoke to Ward through a screen. "You owe us our future," he said. Ward shook her head. "You owe it to yourselves. We only held the door." "But others would not," the leader said. Ward did not answer. She knew he was right. In deep space, other empires watched human space carefully. They mapped human fleet paths. They studied their technology.
But what frightened them most was not the ships, it was the pattern. Humans did not act for gain, they acted for choice, and that made them impossible to predict. A new word began to spread in secret talks: intervention species. A species that steps in when lines are crossed, a species that does not rule, but refuses to be silent. On Earth, leaders met with military and scientists. If we intervene again, the galaxy will expect it, one said. And if we do not, another asked, then they will think we choose sides. The burden grew heavier. Commander Ward looked at the stars from her bridge. She had stopped one war. She had started a question. The galaxy no longer asked who was strongest. It asked who would step in. And every fleet, every council, every empire now prepared for the same moment, the next time humans decided a war should not happen.
The galaxy did not return to normal after Verdanth. It could not. Too many eyes had watched, too many fleets had paused, too many lies had been uncovered. In the months that followed, fewer wars began, not because fear ruled space, but because memory did. Empires now hesitated before attacking small worlds. They asked new questions. What if humans answer the call? What if they stand in the way? What if they show what we planned? Human fleets did not grow larger. They did not build monuments. They did not declare power. They built listening posts, small stations placed near unstable systems, stations that did only one thing: listen. When a world sent a cry for help, humans did not rush blindly. They studied, they watched, they waited for proof. Then, when lines were crossed, they moved. The galaxy learned that humans did not want to rule. They wanted to choose. At the Galactic Council, a new seat was added. It was not large, it was not golden, it was simple and blue. The sign above it read, Human Observer. Not judge, not ruler, observer. When debates grew loud, the human delegate often stayed quiet, but when war was suggested, the room grew still. Everyone waited to see if the blue seat would speak. On Verdanth, the skies remained clear. Human ships had slowly left, one by one. Only a small defense station stayed behind, not armed with guns, armed with alarms. The people of Verdanth built schools instead of bunkers. They taught their children stories of the day the stars stood still. They did not say humans saved them. They said humans stood with them. On Earth, Commander Elise Ward stood before a group of new officers. They listened closely as she spoke. "We are not heroes," she said. "We are not police." They waited for more. "We are the pause between anger and destruction." One officer raised a hand. "What if one day the galaxy turns on us?" Ward nodded. "Then we will do what we did before." "What is that?" the officer asked. "We will stand where the fire would pass and ask it to stop." Far from Earth, Admiral Vorkesh lived in exile. He watched news from human space. His empire had changed. It was weaker, but it was also quieter. He thought of the day his fleet turned away, not because it lost, but because it could not justify its reason to fight. On Zyrex worlds, priests began to teach a new lesson. Strength is not only in weapons, they said, it is in restraint. The galaxy shifted slowly, like ice melting under a quiet sun. 1 year after Verdanth, another signal appeared. A distant moon asked for help. Pirate clans had surrounded it. Old patterns would have said, "Let them burn." Instead, a message was sent to Earth. Humans answered. But this time, they did not go alone. Ships from 3 other species followed them, not to fight, to witness. The pirates fled without battle. They had heard the stories. They knew what standing in the wrong place meant now. At the council, the overseer spoke one last time about humanity. They are not the strongest, it said. They are not the oldest. They are not the wisest. The chamber listened. But they are the first to say, this should not happen. That became humanity's place in the galaxy, not as kings, not as gods, as the species that steps between the blade and the victim. Across space, fleets stayed on alert when human ships moved, not because humans brought war, but because they brought change, and change was dangerous to those who loved power. Commander Ward stood on her ship's bridge and looked at the stars. They looked the same, cold, bright, endless. But the meaning had changed. Before, the galaxy believed only in strength. Now it believed in choice. And somewhere on small worlds with no fleets and no armies, people slept under quiet skies, because one species had decided, when war comes, someone should say no. And the galaxy would remember this truth for a long time. When humanity intervened, the universe did not burn. It learned to stop.